Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé latest news. Few stories have etched such a lasting impression on the hearts of viewers as Jasmine Pineda and Matt Brains on the always spinning carousel of 90 Day Fiancé, where love crosses boundaries, bureaucracy, and the brilliant glare of public scrutiny. There's never was a story of simple beginnings. Two individuals tied by brilliant screens, echoing laughter, and heartbreaking moments between responses. A love born of distance and digital devotion. Living with a fire in her chest, a lady formed of poetry and storm clouds, of tears that came naturally and truths shouted even more. Jasmine, the bold and dazzling spirit from Panama, lived. Her counterpoint came from Matt, the quiet American observer, intelligent, measured, a man who saw everything but spoke less. They lived in two separate worlds from the start, not only in kilometers but in rhythm, culture, family, expectation. She spoke in waves, he paid quiet attention. She insisted on being felt, he provided a venue for understanding. Still, something intangible linked them over all the oceans, all the arguments, all the worries. Their affection did not come naturally. It was not subdued. It lacked glossy cinematic frames or fantastical ribbons. It was authentic, damaged, expected, often pulled apart publicly and then quietly and repeatedly patched together. There were several times when it could have stopped. The yelling contests left with a hoarse voice. The evenings spent apart, emotionally as much as physically. Every time Jasmine questioned her value, her voice revealed a certain fragility. The silent weight Matt carried while trying to persuade her she was more than enough. Still, they picked each other despite all. Again. Once more also. Again. Jasmine left behind more than her homeland as she got on a plane headed for America to begin her life. She left behind assurance. Her kids. Her calm. Her own language, her own cuisine, her own son, the familiar warmth. Everything felt alien in the environment she entered, except Matt. And in that foreignness they discovered a weird, holy sort of intimacy. Two individuals learning to create a life from raw intuition, compromise, and the kind of love that demands progress rather than comfort rather than from blueprints. They were married, in silence, close up not for cameras, not for spectacle, but because they believed. When they were side by side, the world seemed more correct somehow in spite of the hardships. But another hope blossomed between them even as they built their house and discovered each other's rhythms in the silences of daily living. Neither one ventured to talk with too great volume. A young person. For Jasmine, it was a dream long kept close and equally dreaded. She carried uncertainties like stones in her pocket, worries about her body having waited too long, about her chance passing, about fate being cruel. They gave it a shot, every month after month. Hope flashed like a match and perished just as quickly every time. And in those still times following another negative test, Jasmine would curl into herself, tears moistening her pillow, while Matt held her and said nothing, because there was nothing to say. Still, one day the test came out positive. Indeed, it felt as though the world had at last murmured back. Times are running short. The news changed their reality. Once echoing the sounds of their words, the apartment surged with the pulse of something more. And presence. The future. The daughter. Pregnancy for Jasmine was not simple. Her body hurt. Her emotions surged like high tide. Old fears crept in like shadows under the door. But every flutter of movement in her tummy, every ultrasonic picture, every whispered word of encouragement from Matt reminded her. This was real. This was underway. Not into someone fresh, but rather into someone deeper. She changed before his eyes. More firmly ingrained. Much more brilliant. And Matt, constant, solid Matt, became her anchor. Once second-guessed everything, the man now stood strong, looking at car seats, painting pastel lavender walls, singing to a belly responding in kicks. He talked to his unborn kid with a sensitivity Jasmine had never heard in his voice before. She started to regard him as a father rather than as a husband. She fell in love once more as well. Later arrived the day. A gentle gray morning touched by rain. As Jasmine held Matt's hand across the suffering, her power spilled into basic moans and gasps of air. The hospital room was calm, almost holy. Time slid back toward itself. Hours passed perhaps in seconds or perhaps years. At 4:13 a.m. Matilda was born. The daughter. Their daughter. The space underwent transformation. The air transformed. The scream of Jasmine gave way to silence. Suddenly the silence burst open with a cry, sharp, strong, alive. They called her Matilda, a name Jasmine claimed had arrived in a dream. In that dream, a girl fashioned of starlight and bravery laughed in a field Jasmine had never seen but immediately identified. She said, "That's her. I observed her prior to her arrival. And here she was right now." Matt held her as though she were created of glass and light. Jasmine cried silently, her body shaking from wonder rather than from grief. The nurses disappeared into the rear view. All vanished: the machines, the cables, the chilly tile floor. A child created from the love that had been tried and tempered like iron, not merely from biology. Matilda was little, fragile, but her very presence permeated the room, the city, the planet. In her was Pennsylvania's legacy, as well as Panama, of fervent desire and slow tolerance. Of two people who had once questioned they would ever find enduring love, now staring into the face of all they ever wished for. They brought her home to a hand-painted nursery Matt created. After hours of reading over reviews, Jasmine had selected the crib. The bookshelves loaded in English and Spanish. A mobile Jasmine's mother once spun slowly to the tune of a lullaby. Their evenings blended gentle cries, bottle warmings, rocking chairs, lullabies. Exhausted yet brilliant, Jasmine murmured promises to Matilda. "I will never let you feel alone." Gentle and bleary-eyed, Matt learnt to swaddle precisely and change diapers under moonlight. And gradually the flat that felt overly large now felt full, of noise, of life, of purpose. Matilda started to flash a smile. She started to map their faces. Her fingers curved over Jasmine's thumb, and then Matt's pinky. She settled in seconds when Matt held her near, and cooed when Jasmine spoke Spanish. They stared at her. She was researched by them. They found it amazing that something so tiny could hold so much of their hearts. Born across screens and continents, born across anguish and persistence, this child, the daughter of two improbable lovers, was the evidence that everything they had gone through was worth it. Matilda is not a baby only. She is a monument to optimism. Between two hearts, two lives, two countries is a bridge. She is a living, breathing response to the formerly silent question they asked. Will this all be worth it? Yes. Indeed, 1,000 times. And thus the world inside Jasmine and Matt's house is quieter as the outside turns whirl full of headlines, fresh seasons, fresh stories. More venerable. A world in which love now comes in lullabies and chuckles, in small socks and sleepy smiles, in the way Jasmine sees Matt kiss their daughter goodbye. A rebirth of a love narrative, not in front of a ring, not accompanied by a visa, but with a heart rate, and a name softly spoken in dreams. Matilda, their daughter, their glory, their everlasting. This gossip is over. If you liked the video, then give your opinion in the comment box and stay with us by subscribing the channel. Thank you.